Hi there guys, Sam here, welcome back to another video. You join me going through the BMW 128 Ti, a really exciting car. I think it's competing with the Golf GTI, and yeah, let's go through the configurator, talk about the pricing, talk about its competition, yeah, and see what it's all about. So let's get straight into this one. So yes, you join me here, as you can see on the configurator, just on the BMW sort of homepage. It started off with the iX, the new electric car that's coming. Yeah, I mean, what do you think of the looks of that? Yeah, very interesting. I think she's waiting for it to charge, which she'll probably be waiting for quite a long time because that's just what happens now. Yeah, but we're not here to talk about that. But let's go to the 128 Ti. So we'll go to models, 1 series, build and price. Now, over the last couple of years, I think this car's kind of grown on me a little bit, the looks. Still not my favourite looking car, and it's got such a big grille. But yeah, there you go. You can see what it starts from, 28,200 for this sort of M Sport one, the 118 I, 136 brake horsepower, so it's probably all you'd need. But let's find the car that we're talking about. So one thing I want to say is if you go for a full-on M1 35i, you're looking at paying nearly sort of £37,500. So for an actual noticeable saving of sort of like £5,000, you can get this 128 Ti. So if we go continue, configure in current tab, sounds like a great thing. Now there's pop-ups galore here, so hopefully this comes out okay. But yeah, here you can see the kind of looks of the car. It's got this kind of two-tone colour to it. I think that's just to identify it from the rest of the range because they all look exactly the same otherwise. I mean, there's the interior. It's just normal 1 series affair. But here's the specs you can see just sort of on the right hand side. So 265 brake horsepower. Now this is quite important because, well, and the price. Starting from £33,320 is one thing, but having 265 brake horsepower is quite another. Because you look at the Golf GTI, which I've spoken about and I've done videos on that. If you want that in automatic, which is all this is offered in, you're going to be paying just under 35,000. So for over £1,500 less, you can get this car. So it sounds great. But on top of that, the Golf GTI only has around sort of 240 brake horsepower. So it's not a massive amount. So this is quite a noticeable step up upon that. Yeah, which is great. So that's really, really cool. I think the reason why they can kind of justify it with the kind of price and the emissions and the figures and the 0 to 60 and the fact that it's got a ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox is simply because it's new to the market, basically. GTI has been around for sort of so many years. It's got that heritage behind it, which I've done videos on in the past, obviously, around the GTI. Loads of videos on this channel around that. This has kind of come out of nowhere, yeah, to kind of make a name for itself. So those stats are quite impressive, as I'm sure you'll agree. You can't really change the engine because that's the one we want. Colours are quite interesting as well, as you can see here. Everything other than Alpine White is a cost option. But each of the cost options are the same, £560. So you don't get any sort of differentiator between that. I quite like them in blue, but then if you're going to go for this and you're going to use it as a daily, I'm always go for the grey kind of colour. I also think if it's got red brake calipers, what it's going to go with. Anyway, you can configure this how you like, but I'm just going to go with what I would probably go for if I was getting this car. That looks quite cool. That is quite mean, actually. Storm Bay Metallic. I'm not so sure those red trims really work for me. And then they changed to black on that. Maybe I would go for red. If you're going for something a little bit out there, let's go for red. Melbourne red. Alloy wheels, you actually get a choice of quite a few. Yeah, what do you think of that? Now, in the UK, it doesn't matter how much adaptive dampers or suspension settings you get, the road surfaces are just awful and they're just getting worse and worse. We just can't maintain them for whatever reason. My Golf R, my Mark 7 runs 18-inch wheels, and I feel it sometimes when I'm going over really heavy potholes that they're actually going to break the alloy. So I think if you go for the 19-inch, which you can see here, you do run that risk. You reduce ride comfort. You might be able to put a better spec of tyres on it, but I would save myself the £595 and stick with one of the 18-inch ones. Oh, actually, that's quite interesting. With performance tyres. So you can get one without performance tyres, you can get one with performance tyres. I'd probably go with the ones with performance tyres. Yeah, I don't know what those performance tyres are, but there we go. Upholstery, pretty standard there. Not the best picture, actually. Oh, there we go. You can actually move it around. Yeah, I mean, pretty bland. People say the Golf GTI is, oh, the Golf 8 is so bland inside, nothing to it. Have you seen the interior of other cars? They're just exactly the same. At least this has got a few little red touches. They're all pretty boring, to be honest. But they're cars that you can spend a lot of time in, I guess. That's kind of the idea of it all. That's what our car's looking like at the moment in red with its 18-inch wheels. Whoa, all blurry, nice. Interesting badge, 128 Ti there. Twin exhausts, like a Golf GTI, like its competitor. Obviously BMW now moved to front wheel drive, and this is a new thing for them. And this is their most powerful front wheel drive car that they have. And one thing actually, while I've got the side on image there, you see those brakes, which are absolutely massive. They fill up that, the 18-inch wheel, certainly, similar to what they do on my Golf R with its 18-inch wheels. You get the same brakes as the top of the range four-wheel drive M135i, but of course you're getting better braking performance because this car hasn't got a four-wheel drive system, so you're not lagging around that extra weight. So it's actually got better braking performance than a car that's £5,000 more expensive than it. I think stuff like that matters, and actually the 265 brake horsepower, because of the less weight, does actually mean it's not a million miles off of 300 brake horsepower in 135i. Okay, it's not going to have the traction out corners, but it's something to think about if you're looking at this car. And if you're watching this configuration video, yeah, it probably was something that you're interested in. Going through, you can change the interior a little bit. I'm not one for interiors, so I might leave this as is. Packages, wow. Okay, there's a 128 Ti Pro pack, which looks like it just gives you a load of bundled options that you probably get separately. Like, what does it say? It says you can get the 19-inch wheels, a Harman Kardon surround system, and sunglass protection, all for a low £1,500. Now, I'm guessing that is cheaper than getting them individually. And a lot of manufacturers have this sort of like package system now because that works better with emissions. It works better with just everything. Comfort pack. I mean, really, do you want that kind of stuff? It's just a 1 series. Heated seats, electric front seats, boot lid, operation powered, comfort access. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I'd go for. Technology pack looks a little bit more interesting. Parking assistant, why isn't that a standard? But I guess you have to get all of those things though. Head-up display is quite cool. Adaptive LEDs look cool. All conveniently £1,500, like little spot-on packages. And of course, into your monthly payments, that works out differently. And one thing I want to add to this, well, as I near the end of the configuration, in fact, pretty much coming to the end, BMW do a lot of deals. They do a lot of deals. You rarely pay RRP for a car. Well, you rarely pay RRP for a car anywhere these days. So that price of this 128 Ti you can see here is actually probably going to be a little bit less. £33,880, and that's with the paint, not much else. I think, yeah, it has a lot going for it. I think the engine is actually quite good. It's just a 2-litre 4-cylinder. We've all heard those before. 265 brake horsepower is a decent amount. 400 newton meters of torque. Cool. I mean, literally, I genuinely think, and I've said it before, this is a contender to actually sort of stepping on the Golf GTI. And I'll explain more now that I'll come out of here, the configurator. So why do I think this is a contender for fighting against the Golf GTI? Well, I think the Golf GTI has been a little bit, then VW not pumping in loads of money into getting that car any better than it already is. They're just relying on the badge, and they're thinking of other things, thinking of electric. They're thinking of the R ranges, as I've spoken about before. And you could buy that car because it's German quality. You just know what you're going to get, don't you? Well, this is a German car. BMWs are built pretty solid. It's at a price which is actually better than a Golf GTI, with discounts to come. It's got more power. It's got the automatic gearbox as standard, which is why it's slightly cheaper, which gives you options to actually option it up as you would like. Like, I've gone for the paint and I'm still £1,000 less than a bog standard GTI with the with their DSG gearbox. I think it's got a real chance. I like things like the bigger brakes, that they offer that kind of performance. They've actually done quite a lot with the suspension. They've done a lot with the tuning to make it more dynamic. It's going to be a real interesting car. I'm not 100% sure on the name. I think it does go back on BMW's heritage. People in the comments have told me that before when I've done videos around this car. There is heritage behind it. Obviously, it's just a name, but they're trying to implement it in this car. And, you know, well done for them. You know, everyone, you know, it's all going hybrid, it's all going electric. Let's get a nice little hot hatch out there. 265 brake horsepower. Do you really need any more in a front wheel drive car without, you know, constantly losing traction all the time in the UK when it's chucking it down with rain? You know, just think about it in the real world. Don't think about it in your sort of like dream scenario, because it just doesn't happen. You need this car to suit you in any scenario. That's kind of why four-wheel drive cars are kind of pushing quite high up now. But I think this, compared to a GTI, if I had to choose between the two right now, I would go with this, because I'd be saving myself money, which is very important in this day and age. And you're also getting a car which has more power. It's a little bit more interesting because you don't know what it's about. You're probably going to get discounts off it. And yeah, it could be quite a cool car. Whereas the GTI, you kind of know what you're going to get. And I guess that's what people like. But this is a really interesting car. And yeah, I wanted to share that, and I wanted to share the configurator with you lot. Let me know what you think about this BMW 128 Ti. I hope you've enjoyed the video, you know, just a little bit of a run through of kind of the specs and the configurator. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if it's a real competitor to the GTI, and yeah, do you think it's the way to go? Or do you think four-wheel drive hot hatches are kind of the way forward? I guess it's everyone's personal opinion. I think there's a place for a car like this, and I'm glad they made it. That's all I can say. That's kind of what, you know, I like about the kind of content I kind of show. I like cars which are as affordable as they can be. I know this is still a £34,000 car. For more people, more accessible for everyone. That's what we want. It's a community channel, so please get involved in the comments around it. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. But thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.